exist if sexual immorality did not exist. They are diseases that should have never been developed. 1 in 4 teens are currently infected with an STD, and they don't know it. If you are a virgin, and I'll give you the definition of a real virgin in a couple minutes. If you are a virgin, you have nothing to worry about. If you are not a virgin, that means the risk of STD just jumped from 1 in 4 to 1 in 2. That means if you are sexually active, it's either you or the person sitting next to you. Those are the odds. It is becoming increasingly impossible to have sex with someone that is not a virgin and not get a disease. The most common misconception among teenagers: sex is defined as intercourse. Okay, can I be a little graphic? That means we have a penis and a vagina and they meet. That's intercourse. Unfortunately, that is only one of many ways that STDs are passed. The Medical Institute for Sexual Health defines sex, are we listening? This is this big medical organization. Defines sex as: sex occurs when one person touches another person's genitals and causes that person to become sexually excited. That means any contact with the genital area, skin contact, oral contact, or intercourse, is defined as sex. So now let's reevaluate that definition of virgin. The only thing oral sex prevents is pregnancy. That's it. Every other STD can be passed through oral sex. Can you name any STDs? Do you even know what's out there? Do you know what you potentially can get? Say them a little louder for me. AIDS. AIDS is a death sentence. Gonorrhea. Syphilis, chlamydia. Herpes. HPV. Let's see, what do I have on my list that you haven't said? We got gonorrhea, syphilis, hepatitis, herpes, pelvic inflammatory disease, HPV, AIDS, scabies, pubic lice. Any of you ever had head lice? Picture that down there. Chlamydia. And there are so many more people. So many more. In the interest of time, I'm going to talk about two that are dramatically affecting our society today. I'm not going to talk about AIDS, because AIDS is the one you know about. If you know about any, it's the one you know, and if you know anything, you know it's a death sentence. I'm going to talk about chlamydia. Chlamydia is a bacterial disease. That means that if you know you have it, antibiotics will cure it. That means it kills the bacteria and it's gone and you're done. 1.3 million cases were reported in 2010 in the U.S. How do you get it? Intercourse, of course. Oral sex. Genital touching. It's a bacteria. It passes from skin to skin contact. Its nickname, the silent disease, because most people have no idea they have it. There are no symptoms. How does it work? All right, I ran this by a friend of mine to make sure it wasn't too much biology. But I'm going to give you a mini, tiny bio lesson. Follow me. This bacteria goes into your cells and it kills them. When it kills the cell, it releases a protein that your immune system recognizes as foreign. So it starts to develop antibodies to this protein. That's good, right? Wrong. When conception occurs, that means sperm meets egg, this same protein is released. Do you know what that means? That means those antibodies that were developed by your own immune system now kill the baby you're so desperately trying to have before you know you're pregnant. So you try, and you try, and you try, and you try to start your family, and your body says no. Because you never knew you had chlamydia, so you never got rid of the bacteria. In addition to that, it causes scar tissue that builds up in the fallopian tube and uterus, which means if conception happens and your body doesn't kill that zygote, that fertilized egg is looking for a place to implant in the uterus, and it can't find any healthy tissue. So that baby that should be growing and developing inside you has no place to go, and eventually your body disposes of it. The decisions that you make now affect your future. If you're sexually active, you need to get tested. Ladies, in particular, the results are a matter of life and death for your future child. All right, let's talk about a different one. How about HPV? Human papilloma virus. This one's a little different than chlamydia. It's a virus, not a bacteria. Just like chlamydia, it's passed through contact, not just intercourse. One really big difference. We have never, in all of human history, cured a virus. So once you've got it for life. Approximately 20 million Americans are carrying this virus. The virus manifests itself in the form of genital warts. How pleasant does that sound? Ladies, and by the way, gentlemen, I have no personal vendetta against you. But your reproductive systems are never in as much danger as the female reproductive system. Ladies, most of your reproductive system is inside. So that means these warts, you don't see them all the time because they're developing in your uterus, your cervix, and your fallopian tubes. So you don't even know you've got them. As soon as anything irregular is detected by your doctor, which means you actually have to go to a doctor, they can attempt treatment for that particular outbreak. Ladies, what is that type of screening called? It's called a pap smear. If you are sexually active, you need to be going to a gynecologist. You need to be getting regular pap smears because the only way to detect this is by irregular cells of the cervix. If you don't catch it and you don't test for it, you get cervical cancer. They'll freeze the cells off if they find them. They'll cut the cells away. And they'll do it as many times as necessary until they no longer find abnormal cells, which may even be complete removal of the cervix. If you don't find that you have it in time, you will get serious scar tissue, and you may find yourself needing a full hysterectomy at the age of 28. You know what a full hysterectomy is? They remove your uterus and your ovaries. You no longer have an opportunity to have a baby. That's yours anyway. You can certainly adopt, but you will never be able to conceive your own child. Side note, guys are not tested for this. Insurance won't pay for it. So when the guy that you are with says, I've been tested and I'm clean, they have been tested for all the things that insurance will pay for, but they haven't been tested for this. This costs them $1,000 out of pocket. Most guys are not willing to pay for that. In addition to that, it can harbor itself for up to a year. So you're not only asking how many people have you had sex with, how often have you been tested, you're saying when's the last time you've had sex. Because if it hasn't been longer than a year, you have no business guessing if they may or may not have this. One short note on Gardasil. Vaccines don't cure. If you have HPV, Gardasil will do nothing for you. Vaccines are a preventative measure. What do you need to know about Gardasil? If you're using this vaccine as an excuse to have safe sex, understand it vaccinates for 4 out of the 100 strains of HPV. That means how many are not protected against? 96. Not protected against. Does it protect against the 4 that are most notably cancer-causing? Absolutely. Does it protect you against the virus? Not at all. All right. Our decisions affect our future. and our spouse's future. Possibly the most important thing he is trying to protect you from, though, if I could move on from STDs, is emotional damage. Because the act of sex is a very personal and emotional one. So it is not just your body, but it is your heart that you are playing with. Our brains have a chemical in them. It's called oxytocin. This is called the bonding hormone. Most often this is talked about when a mother is breastfeeding her baby. It is released as she nurses her baby, and an incredible bond is formed. It's a bond of security. It is a bond of incredible attachment. Now think about the long-term relationship you'd like to have. Can you think of two better adjectives that you'd like to have? Attachment and security. Here's the problem with releasing this hormone too often and too soon. With each relationship you give your heart to, this chemical forms a bond that stays with you forever. Let me give you an analogy. I love analogies. You are walking the path of life, okay? And we're going to call each relationship a stop. And with each time you have an intimate relationship, sex, we're going to say you're taking a souvenir along with you. Well, if you think about when you start this journey, you've got nothing but the clothes on your back. You're walking, you're free, you're not weighed down at all, right? But as soon as you take that first stop and you form that first bond, all of a sudden you've got something you've got to carry with you. Maybe you're going to get a bag to make it a little bit easier, or maybe you're just going to carry it. It's not that heavy, really. It's just one souvenir, right? Here's the catch. You can never put it down. All by itself, that one souvenir becomes heavy if you can never put it down. But now add souvenir 2, souvenir 3, souvenir 4. Now you need a suitcase. Any of you ever had to run through the airport with a suitcase? You know how heavy that is? Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hit a stop on your journey of life that you want to be your permanent stop. And you're going to get one last souvenir. The man or woman you're going to marry. And you are going to cherish that souvenir, and you are going to spend more time with that souvenir, and you are going to love that souvenir. But you are never going to be able to give back the other souvenirs you gave, that you purchased, excuse me. How many souvenirs do you want to carry around? This, my friends, is why Song of Songs, which, by the way, is the most passionate book in the Bible, warns us, I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the hinds of gazelles or by the hinds of the field, which are free to follow their own instincts, that you not try to stir up or awaken love until it pleases. God has a plan. Remember, He designed it. But He wants you to save it for His appointed time. All right, I don't even know how much time I have left. But I can't leave with just that piece. I got to tell you the good news. See, I told you, I'm a teacher. So if you won't stay pure for God, I want you to stay pure for yourself. I want you to know the risk. But here's the real key. Here's the take-home message. Are you ready? This is what I believe is the most valuable understanding you could ever gain in your quest to remain pure. Are you ready? Are you listening? Do I have your attention? Are you sleeping on me? God wants you to have great sex. He didn't just design it and then say, little detail. He wants it to be good. He doesn't even want it to be good. He wants it to be great. If you were to describe God, what adjectives would you use? Now remember, I'm running out of time, so give me some adjectives.
Joe, you've got 20 minutes.
I have 20 minutes. I'm not running out of time at all. Give me some adjectives. Perfect, omnipresent, awesome. I heard love. I heard something. Amazing. Caring. Faithful. All right, here's my list. All of yours are right up. Here's some of the first ones that came to my mind. I have God is loving. He is compassionate, merciful, full of grace, long-suffering, passionate, merciful, jealous, kind, good. Right? All of those are right on. That's the God we serve. There's probably 100 more if we really stop and think about it. How many of you would add to that list sensual or seductive? Does that sound like blasphemy to you? Did you just call my God seductive? Did you just say that that perfect God has a sexual side? Ladies and gentlemen, does the word that you read say that we were made in His image? Because the Bible that I read says we were made in His image. Okay, so doesn't that mean that if you and I were designed to be lovers, that He is the perfect lover? The God that we serve is supposed to be our husband. Ladies and gentlemen, Isaiah 54 says, "For your Maker is your husband." What is a husband? A protector, right? We think of that masculine character of protector. We think of provider. But a husband is a lover, a passionate lover. And the word that I just read, it wasn't even from Song of Songs, says that God is our husband. He is the perfect lover. He designed our bodies. He designed our sexuality. He created man and woman. Genesis 2 explains how God made two perfectly fitting puzzle pieces that eventually became one flesh. And He used that to form covenant, commitment. When you are married, it is supposed to be for life. It's designed for the man and the wife alone. God designed it. He wants it to be good. The gift of waiting for your husband or your wife is that you will be each other's best. You won't be thinking about how she looked or what he liked. You won't be thinking about what someone else told you to do. And you will not have 1 ounce of expectation that is unmet. Because you and your husband or wife will work together to learn together and to teach each other what God instinctually put inside of you, that we might understand Him better. See, that's the correlation, guys. God created this.